Imagine taking a Sharpie and drawing a black spot onto a sticky notepad, making a black hole. You then take the same Sharpie and push it into the black hole until it completely vanishes. The black hole can now be peeled off and given away as a souvenir. This can be performed anywhere and has an instant reset, so it makes it ideal for walk around magic. My name's Richard Griffin and this is the Black Hole. Hi, my name's Richard Griffin. Thanks for buying the Black Hole. Let's see what you should have received. So you would have received the Sharpie, which has a reel attached, a sticky notepad, a little template which has a hole in, and the special sticky notepad which has a hole going through the center, and then there's a black plastic flap on the back, and covering that are some sheets of paper. So come to the setup. What you need to do is take the Sharpie, which has a little clip on, and you clip that into your jacket. Now I wear a jacket when I perform this, and that just clips onto the inside pocket there. You also need another pocket here so you can actually put the pad in. If this is not your sort of style, you could wear a t-shirt with maybe a hoodie or a loose fitting shirt over the top. If that's more your style, you can do that, but of course you will need to maybe if you haven't got pockets inside the shirt or the hoodie, you could put a safety pin on here, stick it on with a bit of sellotape, and then pin that to the t-shirt. Okay, not the hoodie or the shirt, your t-shirt. So when it pulls, it's pulling here, and it will pull the t-shirt a bit, but obviously you won't see that when the shirt or your hoodie is over the top. So that's how you can fit the pen in. And then also on this side, you would need a pocket to put the sticky notepad in. So you could have, well, you might have a pocket already in there, but if you haven't, then you might have to maybe sew one in or get someone to sew one in for you. So that's a way you can get around it without wearing like a jacket like this. But for this explanation, I'm going to use the jacket. And like I said, we just clip that onto the inside pocket. The pad is actually kind of ready to go. You just need to draw on, obviously you'll see that there is a hole in this side, and it's black and that goes straight through. You'll see if you really look at it closely, it's not totally perfect because you're going to draw obviously the black hole, and it's not going to be perfect. So that's why this side is not totally perfect. So don't worry about that. It's supposed to be like that. On this side where the flap is, it's a plastic flap, and like I said, on top of there are some sheets. What you need to do is to take the template and put it on the center of the pad, and then just draw a broken circle with this is a pencil. This is a retractable pencil, so it's very fine lead on there, but you could use a normal pencil if you've sharpened it enough, because you just want to do a little broken circles. Don't press down hard and draw around, because when you take it off, you can have a visible drawn circle. You want to do it quite lightly and just do little bits, little lines, so you're getting like a broken circle. So when you take this off, obviously you can't see this on the video, but when I look at this, I can see this, and I can see the circle, and it's just broken. So when you bring this out, because it's quite faint, very faint, whoever you're going to show this to is not going to notice that. And you take it out anyway and show it like this, and you put it down your hand, and then you're going to draw the circle straight away. So they're only looking at this for a second or two before you start drawing, so they're not going to notice that. Now there are probably, I have put on yours already 8 sheets. There should be 8 sheets there. Now obviously, if you see the last one, there is that black spot that's on the actual plastic flap. So you can actually perform this 6 times before you need to put more paper on. So because there's an instant reset, you can do this again immediately after you've finished, for six goes. And of course that leaves a couple of sheets on top of there, so this black spot doesn't bleed through, so you won't see that after, on 2 sheets, through 2 sheets. So you can do this for 6 times for the instant reset before you need to put more on. But that's the pencil. Now of course you need to do that obviously on every sheet, on the 6 sheets. If you're doing like a dinner function or something and you want to do it again and again, so you have to do that as your preset. And then once you've run out those 6 sheets, you just get some from another pad and stick them on. And again, you can have that preset as well. You could have a whole pad and just do the whole pad and make little pencil circles on them before you go to your venue. So that's the setup for the pad. Now I actually take this pad, the flap is at the top there, and this goes into my pocket. Obviously the black hole is towards my body, and this goes just inside my pocket like this. Okay, so the flap's at the top, and that just sits inside my pocket like that, and I'm ready to go. So when you are drawing the circles with the template, you'll notice the template doesn't fit totally onto the pad. There's a little bit missing here, but if you place it on like this, so obviously the hole is in the center, okay, and the reason why it's made like that, so it's therefore you can pull up the next sheet and then just put that on there like so, and now you can do the next circle. Okay, and this is so you don't have to peel the sheet off and then stick it back on again. You can just put the template underneath that sheet and then the next sheet and draw the next circle, and so on and so on. So you're going to reach into your pocket and take out the Sharpie. Now obviously the Sharpie's hanging down here, so you don't want to do this and put it out. You want to look like you're reaching into your pocket and putting out that Sharpie. And as you put it out, obviously it is attached to the reel, so you need to bring this hand here to cover that, and you pull off the lid. Now you want to have the Sharpie lid in this position, so when you put it here out, you then want to take the Sharpie lid and have it in this position. So the middle finger's obviously got a tight hold onto the bottom, so it's not going to move, and the top of the Sharpie is actually just kind of in line with your forefinger, maybe just a little bit over the top, and that's the position you really want to be in. Okay, so you put it off and then you just move it into that position. You then hold the pen here as you reach into this pocket, and then obviously with your thumb and forefinger, which are free, remember the pen top's hidden held in place with your middle finger, you reach in and you pull out your post-it pad and show it. Now as you put it out, you know your forefinger's at the top, so this is where the flap is. As you put it out, you place it straight on top of your left hand, so obviously it's going straight on top of the pen. Now be careful it doesn't slot into that hole. Obviously you don't want it into that hole just yet. You take the pen and you're going to draw a circle first, so you add up you obviously join up all those pencil lines that you did, and so you can get sort of a pretty round circle. And then you say you're going to colour it in to make it into a black hole. And then this is the bit where you need to get the pad in to position for you to be able to push this pen into it. So you're going to hand this out and say, look, you've just seen me draw the black hole. When you have a look, make sure it is just a normal Sharpie. And so while they're looking at that, you say, look, I'm going to take this pad and place that Sharpie into the black hole. Okay, so what I've just done is turned it over. And also you need to get the pen top into the hole as well, which I'm going to show you now. So as you know, the flap's at the top here. You reach over with your hand. And what actually happens, you turn it over like this. And this hand comes away like this, because when you've gone to get the post-it pad, as you brought it out, they would suggest that you probably dropped off the pen top in there as well, so you don't have it anymore. Okay, so all you've got now is the pad. So you brought out the pad, you draw on the circle, you hand out the Sharpie, and then you come over and basically you're turning this over like this as this hand comes towards you so they don't see the lid. And you come up like this, and then you're going to come back down onto the Sharpie lid. But with your little finger here, you're going to open up the flap. So it's here. As you turn it over, you open the flap up, and what you can do is you can come down, and it's going to go over that forefinger. So now that exposes the hole there, so you can actually push the pen lid into that hole, and it lodges into the hole. So it will be like that. Okay, now this will take practice. You will need to practice this quite a lot to get it nice and smooth, because the idea is that you've just given them a pen, you say, hey, we're going to take this black hole and we're going to push that Sharpie into it and make it vanish. And it's in that movement that you've done all that I've just shown you. When you are going for the edge of the pad to get that flap up, don't go right for the actual flap itself. Go for the bottom edge of the pad here, and then slide your little finger along the edge of the pad until you reach the flap, and then you can bend the flap up. That'll make it easier. If you go straight for the flap, you might just get a piece of paper like that and not actually get the plastic flap. So go for the bottom edge first, and then just let your little finger slide up until you actually reach that plastic flap, and then you'll always get that plastic flap with the little finger. So like I said, it will take practice. You reach over, you pick it up, you open up the flap, and then you come back down like this, and then you can feel the pen top slot into the hole, and you push down, so you lodge it into that hole. It's got a lodge in, so therefore it's, you know, you can let go and it will actually stay in there. So obviously the flap's bending up, but your fingers are covering everything, so all the angles are covered from the sides. So obviously from here up like this, as you come down, obviously your fingers here are covering it. You've covered this side, and then once that's lodged in, you can then bring these fingers out to cover that. So I'll show you one more time from this side. You come over, as you pick it up, you turn it over like this, your little finger opens up the flap. Obviously this hand turns inwards as you do that, so it's like this. Open up the flap, come back, and it's just going over the top there, over your finger, and then until you feel the hole, and you can just push it in. So you're lodging the pen top into the hole, and then you can come away, because these fingers will be hiding this. So from the front it looks like this. So what they're actually looking at is the inside of the pen top, and obviously if you look at yourself you can see it's very dense black. So even from a short distance it still looks like the spot on the pad. And if you're in a restaurant or a bar or doing a dinner function, obviously the lighting is going to be dim and you're not going to see anything. I mean, I have tried this outside in the garden, and even under daylight this looks really good. Try it yourself. But of course if you feel that, oh, maybe they could see it, then just, you know, if they're quite close, just take a step back from them, and then that will totally make the spot look real. So you're in this position, they've still got the pen. You say, okay, I take the pen, watch very closely. We're going to take the pen and we're going to push it straight into the black hole, and what you're doing is actually pushing the pen back into the pen top. So you push it in, and as you push it in tight. I mean, obviously the pen top's against your hand, so you can push it in. At the same time you dislodge it from the hole, so now the pen's in the top nice and secure, and it's now dislodged from the actual hole. So now you can start to push the pen into the hole. From the back it looks like this, so you've got the pen along your hand coming under the flap, and you just slowly keep pushing that in, and then the last bit you just push in, and as you push it in, it will just fly into your jacket. So it's like this. Okay, I'll show you again. So what you want to do is you're pushing it in, and then the last bit, as you push in, you cover the hole with your finger, and then this hand comes to this side as you show it like this, and then you come over and you cover the hole, because what they're looking at now is the sunken hole. But again, it's dense black, and again it looks very good, but they only see this for a fraction, well, a second or two, because after you've made it vanish, this hand comes here and here, and that's it. They only see it for that amount of time, because then you take this and put it down in your hand like this, and as you put it down, all you're doing is turning the pad around, so it reveals the drawn on spot again. So let me show you the whole thing there. So you're pushing it in, okay, and as it goes in, you show it like this, and then you put it down and say, put your hand out for me, and I'll peel this off, and you can have that as a souvenir. All right, so as it goes in, it's there, this hand comes here, boom, cover it over, and show this hand empty. As this hand comes down and you're turning it over, as you say, right, put your hand out for me, and then you peel this off and say, hey, you can keep this as a souvenir. Then you're now reset, ready to go again, because the pen's in position, and then just make sure that the flap is at the top. Obviously you've already preset your other pencil drawings, so you put this straight back in here, and that's it, you're ready to go again. You can do it straight away. So that's why it's perfect for if you're doing a walk around type of magic. So I'm going to show you now what it should look like from start to finish. I'm going to use a Sharpie, and I'm going to use a pad as well, a little sticky note pad. And I'm going to draw a circle onto the pad. There, like so. I'm going to colour it in. So we make a black hole. And we all know that anything that enters a black hole will vanish forever. Now, if you just have a look at this pen, make sure it is just a normal pen. There's nothing wrong with that pen, because we're going to take this black hole and we're going to place that Sharpie into it and make it vanish. Everything okay? Fantastic. We take the pen, watch very closely, we place it straight into the black hole, and as you can see, it starts to vanish until the whole thing completely disappears. And if you can just put your hand out for me, you can actually keep this black hole as a souvenir. So if you're just doing the trick for maybe one person or two people, you don't have to make such a big deal about picking up the pad and then putting it back on your hand when you do the main move, where you have to switch over and put it on top of the pen cap. If you're just doing it for one person, when you give them the pen, say, hey, I want you to have a look at that, make sure there's nothing wrong with the pen, and then, hey, I want you to have a look as well. So they're both involved looking at the pen. And this way, when you give it, you could just come back quietly, just with your hand, and then just turn it over, open up the flap, and then put it on to the pen cap. Okay, as long as they're not looking at you, they're looking at the pen, you can just do this quite casually, and then turn it over and put it on the pen cap. So that's if you maybe just got one or two people watching you, and that's why you can distract their attention from you looking at the pen. Of course, if you're doing it for a big group of people in front of you, then obviously you have to make it a little bit bigger and say, hey, I want you to have a look at that pen, because we're going to take this black hole, we're going to place that pen into it and make it vanish forever. Okay, so you do it a lot bigger, and as far as the audience can see, all they've seen you do is pick up the pad and put it back down on your hand again. It's not a big deal. One of the things you might have noticed is the sound of the reel. Now, it's going to sound a lot worse when I show you just like what I just showed you just then, because I'm mic'd up. So obviously the reel is right next to the microphone, so you're going to hear it. But when you do it yourself, you'll hear that it's not that loud, because obviously when you've got the pad here and the pen, it's only got to go a very short distance to go back to the reel. So it's only a little sound. But obviously what you're hearing is probably quite loud, because like I said, I've got a microphone on. So the sound is not very loud because it's got such a short distance to go. And also, if you're doing this in a restaurant, a bar, dinner function, there's music, there's people chatting, it's quite loud, and you're not going to hear that at all. You're not going to hear that little sound when you perform it for people. If you're going to do it in a very quiet venue, maybe, where there's no one's talking at all, they're just looking at you and want you to do the trick, you can soften the sound of this by putting maybe a little bit of foam around, sticking a little bit of foam around this bit, so when it hits that, it's not going to snap so much. So the sound, it will make the sound a little bit more quiet if you've got a bit of foam around that. So that's an idea you could use. And also at the same time, when you are pushing this through, when you do the last bit and it shoots into your jacket and you're in a very quiet venue, first of all, have the foam around it if you need that. So put the foam around it, and also when you're doing it, you say, hey, and the last bit's going to vanish completely into the pad, and it's gone. So you're talking over the sound as it disappears, which will help as well. So that's if you're in a very quiet venue. You want to put some foam on there, and you want to talk over the vanish as well, so it's completely covered. When you are lodging the pen top into the hole, it doesn't have to go right into it. It doesn't have to go the full thickness of the pad. You just want it to lodge slightly into it. Okay, so it's not right through. Otherwise, when you come to pushing the pen in, you're going to be really trying to get that pen out. So you want it just to lodge just slightly into the pad. Now you can also take the pen top and you can push it actually right the way in if you want, and then pull it out, push it in, put it out a few times, and that will loosen up the hole slightly. But like I said, when it has come to actually, when you're doing the move and you're bringing it back down onto the pen top, you just want to slightly lodge it in, just nice and gentle, and then when it comes to pushing the pen in, it's not going to be that difficult to push it out. It's going to push out nice and easy. So when you're drawing the circle with the Sharpie, if you're having trouble making it look like a near perfect circle, you can do it this way. So you start with a black circle. So you take the template before you show anyone, of course. You draw around with the Sharpie, so you make the circle, and then you put that in your pocket, and you could do it like that. So you say, hey, I've got Sharpie and we're going to use a sticky notepad, and as you can see there is a black circle in the center. Now I'm actually going to color that black circle in and make it into a black hole. So you could do it that way. The only thing is that you'd have to reset it every time. Okay, and obviously with the flap, I said I had 8 sheets on here. 2 is to obviously just to cover the spot so that you don't see it bleed through the sheets, and then the other 6 you can actually use in performance. You may want to experiment and put a few more, and it's up to you. I tend just to keep the 8 so I can perform it sort of 6 times before I have to put more sheets on, which is very easy. You just take some more, peel some off the pad that I've given you, the spare pad, peel some off, stick them on, and then obviously do the preset pencil marks. Also, when you do draw the circle and the black hole, at the end when you peel it off and you give it away, there may be a bit of bleed through from when you've done that spot. So this page, this page may have a few little black marks on it, which is fine. I mean, you can then just do it again straight away. I don't think people really know. I mean, there's a few black marks there and you can draw. But if you're that picky, just take that sheet off and throw it away. And then you've got the next sheet underneath. And from my experience, it only bleeds through to one sheet, so it's not going to go through to the next one. So if you do that bleed through and you don't want those little specks of black for your next performance, just take that off, throw it away, and you reset to go with the next sheet. And just another tip, if you're having trouble when you're placing the pad down onto the pen top and you can't seem to find the hole, what you can do, let me come close to the camera here and let me expose this pad more. What you can do is, as it's coming, you're holding it like this, obviously, you angle the pad so it's like this. So you're sliding the pen top, it's not straight up and you're trying to find it, it's at an angle. And then you can slide it along and get that edge will just slot into the hole, and then you can straighten it up and push it in. So once again, thanks very much for buying the black hole, and I hope you enjoy performing it.